from 16, and then at the end of today, we're gonna have 8. Hello and welcome to the 2022 Elkhart County Historical Museum Collections Tournament. Here I am in Tournament Central with the last matchup of the first round. The round of 16 ends today. The Elite 8 will start with the next episode. And what better way to end than with me? So we have our last matchup here where I'm gonna present the last 2 items in my bracket, where we're gonna have a bottle of Dr. Miles' Restorative Nervine going up against the World War II jacket of Lewis Sanders. Really great histories here. I'm gonna take 2 minutes to tell each story. Hopefully you enjoy them, and hopefully you have one that's gonna move on to the Elite 8. One of them has to go, so you have to decide. So let's send it out to me around the museum, probably looking a little bit different, maybe a different clothes, maybe the beard's a little bit longer, the hair's gonna be a little bit shorter or longer. Depends if I've gotten a haircut between the time I filmed this and the time I filmed the stories of my objects. Either way, let's send it out to me for the stories. Alka-Seltzer, Bactine, Flintstone vitamins, one-a-day vitamins, all developed by the Miles Company and become very prominent and even some household names in terms of medicine. None of those would have been possible if it wasn't for Dr. Miles' Restorative Nervine. And for the tournament, I selected a glass bottle, which one of the early versions of a bottle that held Nervine. Now, Nervine was developed by Miles' founder, Dr. Franklin Miles. Franklin Miles came to Elkhart in 1875 after studying and practicing medicine in Chicago. Now, Elkhart he was very familiar with because he lived here as a teenager. As he was studying medicine at the University of Michigan, he interned for a local physician here. So coming to Elkhart was something he was familiar with. So in 1875, he comes here and establishes his own practice. In 1882, he develops Nervine on a laundry stove in his kitchen in a wash tub. Now, he developed this medicine because he believed the nerves in your brain and your eyes were connected to the nerves in your heart and your stomach and the rest of your body. And he believed that if you could treat these nerves all together, they could cure things like headaches, digestive problems, even heart problems. So he develops Nervine with that intent in mind. Now, we don't know what the original mixture of Nervine was, but we do know it was a mixture of bromides, potassium, ammonia, and sodium blended together with sugar. He patented Nervine in 1882, gave it to his local patients, and then began distributing it to local markets. It's a really interesting story. I can't wait to share more with you. So if you vote this on, we're going to talk about how Nervine became successful and also how Dr. Miles uses Nervine and his marketing techniques that would eventually go on to create a pattern, the way that the Miles Company would market their medicine going forward. So vote for Nervine. I'm here in our temporary exhibit, Lost in Remembrance, to present my next item, which is this jacket, which belonged to Lewis Sanders, who was the commander of the 46th Pursuit Squadron of the Army Air Corps. Now, Sanders has a really interesting story. He was born in Elkhart in 1907. Before being commissioned to the Air Corps in 1936, he was actually a barnstormer who flew in a flying circus. So at the time, flying circuses were extremely important and really fascinating because they were important because they helped sell airplanes, but also was an interesting thing to see all the pilots do crazy stunts and see people standing on top of airplane wings and flying around. So Sanders had a really interesting story, but in 1936 he joins the military and is commissioned in 1936 to the 46th Pursuit Squadron. Now, we need to vote this on to the next stage of the bracket because I'm going to share a really interesting story about Lewis Sanders and how he's extremely important to the history of this country. Because where the 46th Pursuit Squadron was assigned was in Hawaii, and they were assigned to Wheeler Field, which wasn't that far away from Pearl Harbor, the naval base in Pearl Harbor. And Lewis Sanders has a really interesting story of his involvement on the attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941. And that story I'm going to share with you and the rest of his military career as this goes further on in the tournament. So Vote for Lewis Sanders' jacket, and you'll hear more of his involvement at Pearl Harbor. All right, thank you, Patrick. It's weird thanking myself, but either way, that tells the stories of the jacket and the bottle of Nervine. Now, it's up to you which one moves on to the Elite Eight. Is it going to be the bottle of Nervine or Lewis Sanders' jacket? Either way, there's lots more history to reveal about each of these objects, and you have to decide. This will be posted on the museum's Facebook page and the park's YouTube page. You know it by now. You know what to do. So cast your vote. One of these items is going to move on to the Elite Eight. So we're all getting excited around here at the museum to present the next stories that we're going to have in the Elite Eight. So vote Nervine. Vote the jacket. Which one of these will go on? You get to decide. So thank you for watching, and don't forget, next matchup starts the Elite Eight.